Hello everyone, and now welcome to a game between TGW and PCG123. For some reason my overlay isn't working today, so all of that additional information and insight that the overlay brings up as a heads up display will not be available, obviously, as things are getting underway. This game taking place on Tide Hunters 1.2 as PCG 123 spawning as the, pink undead on the top left hand side of the map. Meanwhile, TGW spawning as the blue night elf. Just gonna go ahead and refer to them as night elf and undead throughout the rest of the match because, three letter names, PG, PCG or TGW. I think that's just going to confuse me and, trip me up just a little bit. Anyways, let's go ahead and unfold what's happening in this game here. Keeper of the Grove getting trained up here by the Night Elf player. So a single archer, Keeper of the Grove opening, going up against, it will be a classic Death Knight. There is that Tomb of Relics. Some ghouls are already being trained up as well. I don't see a sixth acolyte as of yet, as we are looking at a scouting wisp now making its way out across the map. Undead versus Night Elf. Well, done so many of these games over the years that it's, sometimes it feels difficult to come up with, good intros, good intros for every single game. Ancient of War now tanking that damage. Keeper of the Grove will come online here. Ancient of War needs to dish out damage, and dishing out the damage to the Forest Troll Berserker and the Forest Troll Trapper because of that armor type will definitely help out here. All right, finishing off that Sea Giant there with the help of that Keeper of the Grove. Now switching targets. And they're going to go ahead and go after that Forest Troll Trapper. Now Claws of Attack +5 has been dropped for that Keeper of the Grove, as the Death Knight already moving on his way has double Sacrificial Skulls. There's Blight, there's a summoning of a Ziggurat there, so there was a sixth Acolyte that I did not spot earlier. As we can see, this is all getting cleaned up nicely. Wisp now making its way over, may try to come in for a detonation and perhaps get some damage onto some of those skeletal minions. I don't see any skeletal minions nearby, though. Difficult to spot it all as the Keeper of the Grove is here. All right, Claws of Attack +5, and now summoning in some tree ends to try and do a bit of damage. We see an Ancient of War also being built nearby as well, as the Ziggurat looks like it will end up getting taken down. Damage is still racking up here. Low hit point about Tree Ant going to get taken down as the Death Knight now gets up to level 2. You can see a Ziggurat, currently trying to be built here as the Ancient of War getting pressured back. More Tree Ants coming online to try and shut down some of these ghouls as well. Death Knight, remember, does have the benefit of Death Coil and, should be able to burst heal if necessary. This one Ziggurat, however, may end up getting taken down again. More damage is getting pressured here as there it goes. There is the detonation taking down a skeletal minion, and now, there is still just enough room to summon up a Ziggurat. With all of that there, Night Elf unable to, remove all of the necessary blight to stop this Ziggurat from being placed down again. We could see another Wisp trying to make its way over. The Acolyte could try and summon up one more Ziggurat right there, and then perhaps get at that Nerubian Tower, and from there transition on and set up that expansion. We can see the text tier 2, text to tier 2 has already been started by the undead here. No additional Ziggurat being summoned. Meanwhile, down to the south side, Night Elf is already teching to tier 2 as well. What is the long-term program for both of these players? Still don't know. There is no name in upper. Yeah, I know there is. For some reason, the overlay just decided not to work today. I'm not quite sure what's going on with that. May have to ask, ask what's going on. But then again, they're supposedly going to be making a new overlay that is built into replay. So that is something I am looking forward to. Just some quality of life improvements coming in from the team that is coming in from the team. I don't believe they're I heard rumor that they aren't actually an official Blizzard team. Blizzard actually outsourced some of the developmental changes for Warcraft 3 Reforged, as we're looking at the Maruka Snapper and Giant Sea Turtles getting cleaned up here. We can see the Keeper of the Grove should be able to clean up this creep camp pretty quickly. Is he going to buy? Yes, the Staff of Teleportation, trying to get to level 3 should be extremely helpful. Perhaps level 2 Entangle or an additional Treant. Nice. Blair's opening up with an update. Anyways, coming back around, Replenishment Potion has been picked up. This creep camp could be easily cleared. There's some more Treants joining in on the battle as well. Huntress is going to go ahead and Shadow Meld for a quick second, and then, well, try and finish off the last of these giant sea turtles. Meanwhile, back off to the north here, Shadow Melded Archer is going to get taken down pretty easily, has really no chance of trying to escape. Death Knight already sitting at level 3. Meanwhile, where is that Keeper of the Grove? Keeper of the Grove? I don't see him on the mini-map. All right, so no Keeper of the Grove that I can spot anywhere. Oh, no, Keeper of the Grove was hiding amongst the trees here, as a panda is now going to be joining in on the fight. Keeper of the Grove looking to perhaps get some entangles off, or perhaps shut down some of these ghouls, and perhaps buy time for the panda to get in some of that precious experience. This is what the Night Elf player is trying to do. Distract, harass while that panda is trying to level up. If that panda can in fact get up to level 3, that will be a very big deal there, as the Keeper of the Grove tries to shift through and really be able to make it down to 302 hit points. It doesn't have Boots of Speed, but was somehow able to still cause quite a bit of disruption here, as we see a Staff of Teleportation inbound back home to these Moonwells. During that time, the Brewmaster has gotten to level 2 and now has picked up a Scroll of the Beast as well. Good use of that time here, as the Treants are trying to knock down this Nerubian tower. All right, Keeper of the Grove has healed back up as well. The armies may regroup here, or as the Tree of Life now tries to establish up an expansion at this 3 o'clock spot. Tree of Life going to get into that front forward position, absorb the majority of that damage. Tree of Life damage doesn't really stick at all, as it's naturally regenerating those hit points without any real resources other than eating a tree, or eating on this little, I guess, forestry looking or rainforesty looking tree off to the side. Now, we see that the Lich is out on the battlefield. We should be getting into an Orb of Corruption, and I'm curious as what will be that third hero. Dark Ranger with Silence, an obvious choice, being able to have access to skeletal minions for Dark Ritual once that Lich gets up to level 4, incredibly important. Also, being able to have access to Silence, very, very useful if you're trying to deal with a higher level Keeper of the Grove. Death Knight now retreating back here, just going to go back and forth, and what we could eventually be looking at is, well, a nasty hero nuking combinations. Level 3 Death Knight, level 1 Lich. I'm assuming that Lich will also eventually get up to level 3 as well. Brewmaster picking up Scourge Bone Chimes, which is not a very useful item for Night Elf. Aside from the bears and this panda there, nothing is going to really be benefiting from that vampiric aura and a little bit of passive healing. Hello, how are you doing? Thanks for tuning in. I guess this is a reminder for all of you guys as well, or a reminder to me to remind everyone on YouTube. If you do have an Amazon Prime subscription for free, please consider supporting my channel. If not my channel, support some other channel as well. I guess it's just a way of giving money back to the people instead of letting Amazon hold on to it. You have this free subscription, might as well use it. Keeper of the Grove still doing a little bit of harassment back and forth. No expansion as of yet on the north side. Meanwhile, the Entangled Goldmine has 5 Wisp in it at full saturation. We can see Obsidian statues have joined in on the fight here, so the Death Knight and the Lich will be getting bonus. Will be getting a little bit more bonus, as well as Rune Bracers staying on that Death Knight. Death Knight will be able to, well, shrug off a little bit of that fairy or that breath of fire damage. All right, coming back through, fairy dragons here alongside, well, Druids of the Talon here. And here we are. Fairy Dragon's going to be doing a little bit of poking, trying to disrupt here. And now, are we perhaps going to see them phase shift? Yes, we are. And in comes a bunch of Huntresses and the Panda as well. There goes a big Breath of Fire, a Glaive Bounce coupled with Breath of Fire, able to finish off one of those Acolytes here. And, trying to snipe down this Haunted Gold Mine. Units are continuing to shift back every which way. Panda could try and, yes, get another Breath of Fire as the Destroyers are trying to devour magic here. All right. Acolytes are trying to repair. Is it going to be enough in time? That is the big question now. There is some entangles, and yes, the Haunted Gold Mine does in fact fall. Breath of Fire blows over as we see some, Fairy Dragons and other units trying to shift away. Undead losing their own only operating gold mine does have enough to re-haunt the gold mine here, but that was a big, devastating blow. Scroll of Town Portal back, and Scroll of Town Portal costs 350 gold. 10 gold per second after 35 seconds. Well, that trade was absolutely worth it. I don't know who does what you do, commentating Warcraft 3 games. I watch your YouTubes from 2016. You work so much with casting. It's definitely a passion. It is definitely a passion project because if I had to live off of my casting, I wouldn't be able to live very well. Tree of Life now coming on, getting a bit of pressure. Ancients of War are back across here. There's a giant, Frost Nova there, and it looks like it could turn into a base trade scenario. A little bit of repair going on, a little bit of gold coming out of that gold mine as the Ancient of Wars are trying to knock things down here. Not looking good. Meanwhile, back off to the north, you can see this gold mine is going to get blown over again. We can also see that the Panda with Breath of Fire blowing over these tightly packed buildings, and these buildings are getting cleaned up rather easily. This is a very big deal, trying to finish off the remainder of all of these units as more Ziggurats are getting taken down. Treants are getting called up as well as we are looking at Fairy Dragons trying to poke apart some of these Acolytes who are trying to back away. All right, full base trade scenario now as there is no natural defense here. Tree of Ages, a couple of Ancients of Wind, but there is no more other production buildings. That means no more Huntresses, no more Archers, as the Fairy Dragons are pretty much going to only be challenged by these two Crypt Fiends here. One Moonwell now shut down as well. Another Moonwell could end up being lost, and this base trade scenario is just, very, very dangerous. Coming back down to the south side here, who has the larger army? Difficult to tell. It is 40 over 10 supply compared to 41 over 30. No one has the larger army. They have the same size army here. I love your shoutcasting for 10 years. Well, thank you. I don't think I was really good back then. I think I am marginally better now than I was then, as we're looking at, Undead now setting up a necropolis at his opponent's base. There is nature's blessing on the Tree of Ages, so they're going to be able to absorb a little bit more damage, but not much more here, as the Acolytes are going to, try and haunt another gold mine. Perhaps they are, however, low on gold, so items will have to be sold or creep camps will need to be cleared in order to, get a little bit more of that economic going. We are looking at a couple of wisps all around the map. Perhaps they need to be transferred over to this north side once that gold mine does get entangled, as the Panda does come in with a big Breath of Fire to try and rack up a bit more damage. Fairy Dragon trying to finish off units. Panda doesn't have that much mana as he's going to try and head back over. Yes, has enough for another Breath of Fire here. Does go ahead and Breath of Fire down that necropolis, and that was a huge, huge loss there. Losing that necropolis means no more additional Acolytes will be able to be trained up, and also no refund either. Seven gold out, and then 336 supply with a zero cap or zero availability. Now, Night Elf still mining a bit of gold here, but all of these wisps will end up getting shut down, just trying to get every bit of gold that they can out of this entangled gold mine before this Tree of Ages falls. Meanwhile, back off to the north here, Brewmaster, Keeper of the Grove, looking to finish off the Altar of Darkness, perhaps finish off the remainder of these buildings here as a Moonwell is getting constructed. Now, if it is a race to see whose buildings are going to be revealed first, we know that it is going to be an easy win for the Night Elf, as Undead is currently completely revealed, and we see this entangled gold mine excuse me, off to the north here. All right, more Wisp are going to try and jump inside. We are, however, upside down on supply, 26 over 20. One Wisp was able to be queued up. It needs to jump inside that gold mine and do it quickly. Otherwise, it will get cleaned up as this Moonwell, well, are we going to see a detonation? No, no detonation. That Moonwell perhaps going to get cleaned up. All right, Panda going to go into Staff of Teleportation. Oh, Keeper of the Grove gets a little bit of Moonwell juice and now heading back the other way. Treant's trying to clean up this graveyard here. And what is going down? Perhaps the Keeper of the Grove going to make its way down to the Moonwells and try and win this game with pure magic spells. Brewmaster sitting at 111. The obsidian statues, the glue that is holding this undead army together, as the Death Knight is at level 5 and that Lich is at level 3. All right. It is, well, I don't know, trying to have an intellectual based hero. All right, this base has been spotted out here. Wisp gonna get a detonation off before it gives any additional experience. That would have given the Lich level 4, as damage is now getting absorbed by this Tree of Life. What is going on here? Keeper of the Grove trying to go after this giant sea turtle creep camp. And the Panda sitting at level 3, nearing level 4 as well. But I don't believe there is still a Wisp off over here. Now we are looking at a potential reveal for the Night Elf as well, as he's lost that Tree of Life. All right, 3 buildings here. This Tomb of Relics only has 153 hit points, so it is not going to be really standing up at all. Meanwhile, Giant Sea Turtle also going to get taken down here. Brewmaster picks up a Wand of Mana Stealing. That may be exactly what the Doctor ordered, to try and get a little bit of mana from the opponents here. And no, in comes a little bit of damage. Are we going to perhaps see a Breath of Fire or anything across here as the Brewmaster tries to get away? There's a Death Coil, but it is shaken off by a Potion of Lesser Invulnerability. Meanwhile, Panda trying to head back away. Is it going to be able to do anything here as the Fairy Dragon's backing up? Panda is in serious trouble. He's going to get down to 260 hit points and is still trying to back away. Meanwhile, off to the north here, Keeper of the Grove is attempting to finish off the remainder of the buildings. Potion of Invisibility, and he gets cleaned up. A Devour Magic, apparently that Potion of Invisibility was not used in time, as we are now looking at the remainder of these buildings trying to get cleaned up here. All right, Devour Magic could eat up some of those tree ants. We're looking at damage still racking up here, down to 290 hit points here. Death Coil, Potion of Invulnerability still being used, still trying to rack up quite a bit more damage as well. Fairy Dragons are slowly getting poked down as well, as we're looking at this graveyard down to 200 hit points. That Panda not using a Wand of Mana Stealing or doing anything else there was a big setback, as we're looking at a little bit of healing from these Moonwells here and here. Ghoul now trying to make its way back off to the north here. One graveyard down to 98 hit points. Fairy Dragons unable to finish off this crypt here. And what is the overall supply? No, Resurrection on the Panda. All right. Panda, Brewmaster getting resurrected. That Breath of Fire is going to be absolutely huge. Graveyard, 1 Breath of Fire, that is down. A Crypt, well, don't even waste the Breath of Fire on the Graveyard. Just take down that Crypt, and then, well, summon Treants off over here. This is going to be an incredibly close battle. Keeper of the Grove trying to, well, fly on over. New Goblin Zeppelin making its way for when the Brewmaster does join back in on the battle here. This is going to be an incredibly close fight. Who's going to come out on top? But it looks as though, well, Undead seems a bit scared to try and venture forth to finish off all of these remaining buildings. Goblin Zeppelin overhead. Brewmaster, what is it doing? It is just currently trying to resurrect the Panda here. And here we are. Here we go. This building doesn't have enough armor and hit points to try and fight back. All right, in comes a little bit of damage, trying to finish things off here. We could see a Devour Magic. Yeah, there's a Devour Magic trying to finish things off here. There goes a little bit of damage, trying to take things down. This graveyard down to 22 hit points, down to 14. And it looks like it is going to end up falling. Keeper of the Grove still trying to get away. There goes one building as well. Meanwhile, down to the south here, Panda will be out here onto the battlefield, and he will end up surviving, getting back out here and now trying to simply get away. He did use that Potion of Invisibility, but he still somehow was taken down earlier. He's now running off to the north here. Doesn't have Boots of Speed. Going to go ahead and try to run by that Moonwell. Meanwhile, Keeper of the Grove is still just wandering around here on the other side. 483 hit points compared to a couple thousand, 2,000 here on a little bit less than 2,000 here off on the other side. Panda Breath of Fire could spell, well, could blow this building over. The panda is doing his best impersonation of the big bad wolf, wanting to blow this house down and take this game. Meanwhile, Keeper of the Grove is now inside that Goblin Zeppelin, flying the unfriendly skies and going to be able to get there a little bit more quickly as the panda, well, isn't quite sure what he wants to do in the end. Keeper of the Grove now looking to back up here, and this is still a dangerous game to be played. All right. Treant trying to make its way over. Crypt now down to 157 hit points. 457 hit points. Panda looking to back up. Treant, a Force of Nature. Is he just going to get taken down? Yes, it will. Lich is now sitting at level 4, nearing level 5, as all of those Treants are just translating into experience for that Lich. All right. This is a high risk, high reward scenario. Panda has up to 190 mana. If it gets up to 225, the breaths of fire are going to be blowing over, and with that damage onto the crypt may just in fact be enough. Treants are now making their way over. Are we going to see the panda now come across here? Yes, we are. Panda's now coming in from the north side. Panda has enough mana after a little bit of recovery here. Is it going to try and push in on this scenario? In this case here, Keeper of the Grove is coming back across here as well. Treants, are they going to be trying to join in? And yes, we are. Here we are. Here we go. Nope. False start. All right. Treants trying to make their way over. Oh, Goblin Sapper trying to come in from the top. All right, Staff of Teleportation inbound. Goblin Sapper, will it be able to make it there? Panda coming in from the north, and that was a just complete head fake, trying to pull aggro from that Goblin Sapper. More damage coming back on through. But Breath of Fire should be able to finish off this one building here. Are we going to see it? Yes, Breath of Fire finishes it off as the Keeper of the Grove falls at level 3. That Goblin Sapper, summoning a Goblin Sapper with a Treant to try and pull attention away towards that front door, only to see the Keeper of the Grove and that panda come in from the back there. Breath of Fire initially dealing a large amount of damage. Remember, heroes deal heroic damage, which does reduce damage to fortified armor. So that's the reason why the Keeper of the Grove and the panda trying to take down 500, 600 hit point building was so tough. Throw in that 2 breaths of fire, and suddenly it was within range as he got the win. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Here are the final scores for you. Even though overall lower score as the hero levels greatly favored Undead, well, Night Elf comes away with the victory. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed it.